So I have gotten a few head injuries in my life, and I've had two pretty serious ones in the last few years. Um, Both of them just a result of my silly clumsiness. And, both minor in the grand scheme of things. I didn't lose consciousness from either of them. I'm still, by and large, a functional human being, mostly. But they have certainly caused a fair share of problems for me that have made my life very difficult and made me have to adjust just generally how I operate in this world. I like what Hank Green said about he went through cancer treatment, and he said that afterwards he's getting used to the fact that with regards to his cognitive functioning, he's working with a new set of tools. Now, his experience is far different from mine. I'm not trying to say that I'm on the same level of what he's gone through, but I just really like that phrasing. I'm working with a new set of tools. My situation is just very different now. To summarize this new set of tools, my memory is not as good. My energy all around is not as good. My general sharpness is just not as good. My sleep is not as good, and I have periods of increased irritability and just hopelessness, and all around I just go through phases where I feel really, really, really high. Like without any substances whatsoever, and I've completely stopped any substances, which of course I never used in the first place anyway, but I don't use any mind-altering things besides coffee pretty much, because I just have this weird spaced-out feeling that's extremely uncomfortable for me for usually a few days at a time when it happens, sometimes for a week and a half at a time. But, hey, that's all the negative stuff. I'm here to talk about some ways that my concussion has helped me. Concussions. Because there are ways. There are ways, and I just want to try to lean into those. Because any experience that you have builds you up into whoever you are. And that person has a strong foundation that is only made of the experiences that they have, positive and sometimes very, very negative. But the big thing about my head injuries, to summarize everything, start everything off, is that it's emphasized my need for quiet and stillness. Not to rely on stimulus to give me a false sense of aliveness. Because that's what it is. With how addicted I've been to screens throughout a good chunk of my life, I'm trying to find a sense of aliveness that I don't think that I have just from being alive. I've really, really doubled, quadrupled down on resorting to things like meditation and qigong, and where I can do it to a light degree yoga, in times when I can't do excessive physical activity. Real exploration of the aliveness that I already possess, the aliveness that I already am. In some ways, that is more stimulating than the stimulus that I want to tap into all the time to sort of escape the experience of just being me. It's also emphasized the need for my own healing to come first. Putting myself first. The word selfish has just, I don't really listen to it anymore, because by any stretch of the imagination, anything that you do for yourself is selfish. And I've just gone through phases in the last year or two, where I don't have any capacity to worry about what anybody thinks about how I'm spending my time. Usually it's because they want time with me that I don't have the capacity to give them. Not even in a demonizing way. Sometimes they're just asking it of me in a very, in a very seeking some kind of help kind of way, and it's hard not to be able to give that help to people sometimes, but Helping myself just comes first, and there's literally nothing that even I can do about it after a certain point. It's reinforced my need to also ask for help when I've needed it. It has forced me to finally try to navigate some work attendance policies by getting FMLA. My work can be pretty strict about how many days off they're willing to give you, and it doesn't often feel like it's as many as I'd like, but I particularly had to take an entire week off last year in recovery from a head injury. And I remember submitting a request, which I had tried to avoid because I don't want to make a big deal out of things. I'd rather suffer in silence a lot of the time. That's just my personality. It has a lot to do with my upbringing. But I remember submitting that request and it initially getting denied. And me being like, of course, this just shows that it's very stupid for me to even ask for these things that I need. Need, in quotes. But then, very shortly after, work was like, randomly, hey, actually, it is okay. You can have that week excused. And I remember that being the first signifier to myself, like, I am not just crazy. I mean, I am crazy because, head problems. But I'm not crazy in the sense of feeling like I need some help sometimes. And it's also shown me that because I also got FMLA protection for some intermittent leave, to occasionally be able to take a day off, it shows me, how I view my work and my daily obligations and the psychological ease of being able to occasionally take a day off. I remember reading a study that showed you're less likely to feel the harsh effects of a headache if you know that there's Tylenol or ibuprofen nearby that you can take to help it. Even without taking it, that psychological ease that I can relieve this automatically gives you some relief. The ease that I feel that I can occasionally take a day off if I need it automatically makes it feel like not as much prison to be at work and to go about my daily obligations. Feeling like I can give myself that freedom to heal automatically makes healing feel like it's already the case. Now here's a terrifying one. Doesn't even sound like a positive at first. It's lessened my identity with my physical body at times, and my ego, and this general human self that's called Joe. Sometimes in very, very bad phases, I've said words and they've felt like they've come from another universe, not out of me as the source of it. And I make actions with my body and I feel completely disconnected from it. Sometimes I go sit somewhere and I'm like, I honestly don't really even have memory of going and sitting down. That's terrifying, right? But not only is it kind of cool to feel like I'm having, this out-of-body experience, it has some spiritual benefits. It's much harder to really expend a lot of energy that is only in service of building up my idea of this character of Joe. Brute forcing doesn't really work for me anymore. I still try it sometimes, and I always fall flat on my face trying to brute force something just to reassure myself of something about myself. That's usually where brute forcing comes from. I'm trying to convince myself that I am worth something in some way. Because even with self-improvement, about which I can be very all or nothing, either I'm running a marathon or I'm not going outside to exercise at all. That's not totally true. I'll take a light walk, but you know what I mean. Either I'm doing intensely something or I'm not doing it at all. It's forced me to find that comfy middle ground of consistent action that is steady and sustainable, because that's really the only way to go for me. And I've found fantastic levels of self-improvement over the past few years from just really leaning into those steady, stable, consistent habits. And the last thing that this has reinforced, when I go through a phase where my head gets particularly foggy and achy and I feel lost in the trenches, this too shall pass, this too shall pass, this too shall pass. Just 2 weeks ago, I had a very bad run-in with this again. And there's a part of my brain that wants to say, hey, this is permanent. You're going to be in this awful state forever. And you just live life, and life itself just proves that wrong. There is absolutely no pain that I endure that is 100% permanent. This too shall pass. And before it passes, I want to reap all the benefits and all the lessons that I can from it.